Howdy folks, the Comics Kid 2099 here to talk about an episode of a superhero animated series like I usually do on Saturdays. Today, I'll be talking about the two-part Batman Beyond episode Curse of the Kobra. If you ain't seen the episode, you need to do that because I will be spoiling stuff here. Or if you don't care if you're spoiled, then carry on as I'll be doing a quick synopsis of this episode before I get into the review itself. Terry gets his butt handed to him trying to stop some Kobra cultists from stealing a bomb thingy, and Bruce sends him to his old friend Kyrie from the Batman the Animated Series episodes Night of the Ninja and Day of the Samurai to train him in the martial arts. While he's there, he meets Xander, who, surprising absolutely nobody at all, is the young leader of the Kobra cult. His big master plan is to turn the entire Kobra organization into dinosaur people and detonate the stolen bomb in a kinda active volcano, which will turn up the temperature enough to kill all non-dinosaur humans. But before he wants to do this, he kidnaps Max, who Terry introduced him to, because she's feisty and he wants her to be his bride. Batman and Kyrie stop Xander and the entire group from their evil scheme, but Kyrie dies in the process. Cue credits. So right off the bat, I gotta call shenanigans on Bruce waiting this long to decide that Terry needs to be trained. This is season 3, guys, the final season. Not only that, but 2 episodes away from the series being over. Why in the round world would you take a character who can certainly take care of himself against untrained thugs, but has no training to speak of, and wait this long to say that he needs martial arts training? This episode, much like Big Time, would make much more sense if you dropped it somewhere in season 1. I cannot believe Terry went this long without getting roughed up a little bit, or if he did get roughed up before, I find it incredibly stupid that Bruce never thought to send him to his old friend before now. And heck, if they had pulled this episode out earlier in the series, it would have made episodes like A Touch of Kurari make a lot more sense, as Kurari is a top-notch assassin, and someone with no martial arts training at all should not really be able to hold his own against her like he did. But let's get past that. It's extremely contrived that Terry just happens to be taking martial arts lessons at the same time that Kyrie is training an up-and-coming cult leader who is about to take over the world. I don't mind certain events in the episode informing what happens in the plot or how the plot unfolds, but roughly 50% of this plot of this two-parter would not have happened at all unless Terry was at the dojo and met Xander, and that would not have happened unless Bruce was a senile idiot who waited 3 seasons to send Terry to hone his fighting skills. This is contrived because the earliest piece in this sequence of events is stupid in the first place, and you just know the only reason anybody said, okay, let's have Terry go and train at this dojo is to either A, do fan service to Night of the Ninja and Day of the Samurai, or the more likely option B, we need to have Terry meet the bad guy so that the entire story can happen. And since we're on the subject of contrived, I don't even know why Max needed to be in this episode, since unlike some of the other episodes she was in where she actually contributed in some way, here she is just a plot device. Xander meets her, Xander kidnaps her, Batman rescues her. She does a whole lot of nothing here, while all the dudes are doing all the action. I guess they shoehorned her in here because they wanted this episode to be a two-parter, but isn't annihilating the entire human race enough of a bad guy scheme? Did we really need an additional level of villainy to make Batman feel obligated to stop Xander and Kobra? If the only thing keeping him from relaxing and letting his ribs heal is that Max is in danger, then he's a pretty crappy hero. In the extra features for the DVD box set of this season, some of the creators kinda poo-pooed this episode because of the bad guy plot. The group is named after a snake, a still living snake, mind you, and their big scheme is to turn themselves into dinosaurs, which are not snakes. And yeah, that is kinda silly, though if I'm being honest, turning themselves into any kind of human-animal hybrid and destroying the rest of humanity is kinda silly. To what end does this scheme lead them? Do they just want to hang out and have world peace with just the Kobra people hanging out on a planet full of dead people? Do the blue-collar Kobra guys become slaves to Xander? Most of the time, when the bad guys want to take over the world, they want to leave the masses alive so that they can have some slaves to serve them, or people they can rub the collective victory in the noses of. But I find it so odd that the creators talking about this episode complained about the dinosaur thing when this is probably the least problematic element of the story. The whole story is built on a house of convenience. The bad guy isn't very interesting or developed beyond, I see a chick I want, I take her, and I want to kill all the people who aren't in Kobra. I hate to say it, but I had trouble finding anything redeemable about this episode. Potentially, it could have been a really cool episode. We never did see much of Kobra in any of the other DC Animated Universe shows, and we only ever saw them once before in this series in Plague. It could have been really neat seeing Terry get his very own terrorist organization as part of his rogues gallery, sort of like how Batman had Ra's al Ghul in Batman the Animated Series. Admittedly, if they were going to go in that direction, it would have been nice to have seen these guys a little earlier than now, but still, on paper, this sounds like it could have been neat. But it would have needed a much more charismatic villain instead of a whiny teenager who can't stop complaining when he doesn't get what he wants, and a plot that doesn't require characters being stupid in order to happen. Unfortunately, I have to say that Curse of the Kobra is one of the worst Batman Beyond episodes to date. But hey, we're not at the end yet. We've still got a couple more episodes to go. Maybe they'll get a little bit better. In any case, that's all I have to say about this episode. Let me know what you guys thought of it and of my review. If you like this video, you should like, share, comment, and subscribe. And if you did like this video, you're in luck because I do this sort of thing every weekend. Next weekend, I'll be talking about an episode of Batman the Animated Series, and the week after that, I'll be talking about another episode of Batman Beyond. And I do other videos throughout the week, so be sure to check those out if you're interested. In the meantime, I'll see you guys in the future. Have a great rest of the day.